for Joyrider TV with Q&A live from the boat park, and this would have to be what we're calling take two. Had some sort of problem with the internet connection. I think where the problem lies is that all the internet is pumped onto our small island through a very small cable, which is about 40 years old, probably a bit rusty. And currently there are a lot of tourists on the island, all trying to get, hello Chopper Mania. Hi Adam Smith, nice to have you on board. And welcome to everyone who's joining us. Hi Kush, 5 times 5. Don't know what 5 times 5 means, but hello. Hello Christopher, hello Russell. With a mouthful of water from the capsize video. Yeah, could have been. That capsize video was an absolute monster, I think you'll agree. And unfortunately, that capsize video did see off my main camera that I've been using, which is why I haven't been able to do the high quality head cam videos since then. The most recently, okay, thanks Kush for clearing that up. I now know what that means, RIP camera, exactly. So I'm now trying to get a new one out of GoPro without having to pay for it. But of course, GoPro being quite slippery. Hi Bradley, thanks for the non-stop videos. Sending it, yeah, you know it. Christopher, come to Thailand. Would love to. One of my mates actually lives in Thailand, so I'd love to. I come from France to sail a laser radio. Don't worry about your bad English. You should hear my French. That is bad. About to start videoing my sails now. Nice. Good on you. How's the picture? 5x5, say Kush. Don't even have to ask. Yeah, so ready for your questions. And we're going to try to keep this to 1 hour, which means that the last questions that I'll be able to answer will be at 1/4 whatever hour it is, the next hour, whatever that is, wherever you're watching. Yeah, so unfortunately the GoPro died, and that is why, if you did watch the helming on the trapeze video, that's why the audio wasn't so good. Thoughts on the new Nacra Evolution? What an absolute beast. It is exactly what it says on the tin. It is the evolution of the F-18 class, and it's taken everything that has happened previously with different boat designs. It's taken all the good parts from the other boats, added a little bit of spice and a bit of flavour. It's thrown away all the stuff that hasn't worked, and it is the ultimate cutting edge vehicle for F-18 racing. I obviously haven't tried one. I haven't even seen one. I've seen pictures, and it does look like an absolute rude boy. One thing I did notice from the pictures is it's got extremely long foils, the dagger boards, and the what they called rudders are very long, which will mean it's really, really efficient upwind, and it's got a lot of volume, which means it's going to carry weight really well. So if you're a heavy team, I think that Evolution is going to really... The rudders are a different shape as well. Okay, all right, I think we're already into the scrolling back stage of the game. There's me talking about something I haven't seen, but love to have a pop on a Nacra Evolution. If anybody wants to lend me one, if you could deliver it down to here maybe by next week, I will be very happy to go for a couple of sails on one in a variety of different wind conditions, and we can see what it's like. So Lewis says, I love your channel, it's cool to learn things from your videos. Peace. Thanks there, Lewis. And then we've got Steve W81. Thanks for the great vids. Just getting into Hobie cat sailing in the Caribbean. Nice. Watched a lot of your videos. Main question, what are the main differences between European and American Hobie 16s? Well, as far as I know, the main difference is the mast, where the American 16s have got, correct me if I'm wrong, but have got a comp tip mast, which means the top, quarter or so of the mast is made of a kind of like a fiberglass material, whereas the European boats, the whole mast is just an aluminium section, so it's the same all the way to the top. I believe that is because the regulations in the States say that the top of your mast has to be made of something else, which will, of course, reduce the risk of some sort of horrible electric shock if you wheel your boat into an overhead, cable. Other than that, I think it will just be depending on the year of the boat, says Clee 33 Able. Thanks for jumping in with that there. I've never actually properly been to America other than sitting in airports. So I've certainly never knowingly seen an American Hobie 16, but that is what I believe to be true. All right, we're just scrolling back. Yeah, I think that's as far as I know, but I should think to actually, if you were to get a brand new boat from Hobie Europe and from Hobie USA, jump on one, I would think the experience would be very similar. That's what I'd think. Okay. Then we've got Bradley. What's your take on downwind technique on the Unirig? Unirig meaning just the one sail, like the Hobie 14. Hearing dead downwind is faster than a typical 90 degrees apparent wind and jibing due to the small sail area. Yes, I have found, I haven't raced a single sail boat, but I have found in the lighter winds, especially where you can't get that apparent wind going, that sailing dead downwind will get you there faster than going for the angles, because without the jib or a spinnaker, you're not generating the same amount of apparent wind on the downwind, so maybe going straight downwind is quicker. What do the A-class boats do in light winds? If anybody's sailing an A-class, then let us know. The traditional A-class boats or any other single-sailed catamarans, what are you doing downwind? Let us know, and then that will go a bit deeper into answering this question, because personally I don't have experience in that arena. Adam says sailing by the lee is good. Oh, and all right, so scrolling back. So sorry, I couldn't really give you a particularly good answer on that one, Bradley, but I'd go deep. Personally, in light winds, I'd get my weight really far forwards, like forwards of the front beam, and go really deep, and I would expect to get there sooner. But when it's windy enough to be trapezing on the upwind, I would say banging the angles, going for that 90-degree angle on the downwind is going to be more profitable, I would say. Just guessing, but that's what I think. Okay, scrolling back. What's your take? Okay, so Adam says any laser sailing questions. That's Adam, who incidentally is the guy who's selling the topper in Liverpool in the UK. There's been a lot of views on that video, something getting on for 1,500 views. So I think there's going to be a queue of people waiting to see Adam's topper. But if anybody's got any laser sailing questions, I'm sure if you put them in the comments, Adam will answer them in the comments, because Adam is quite, let's say, into it, and he'll be able to answer them a lot better than I could, because as the laser sailing community have pointed out to me, due to my Is Laser Sailing Fun video, I am no laser sailor. I think I'm willing to accept that. Okay, we've got Jerome. Hello, Joe. We've got a catamaran. I think that's called a shaka. Can't quite see what that is. And a face with a drop. D. Jonathan, hey, what's the best way of holding the cat on one hull over time? If you want to keep that hull in the air, there's a few things you need to do. Get it, the close reach is the point of sail, which is going to be your friend there, because on the close reach you've got that ability just to steer a little bit, where you can bear off a little bit for a bit more power, head up for a bit less power. But it's a combination of many things. There's the steering, there is playing the main sheet, and then there is shifting your weight. So it's the combination of those three things which are going to enable you to keep that hull flying for a prolonged period of time. Practice, of course, is what is going to make it better, because there is a saying that is practice makes perfect, but I think practice makes better is possibly a bit more accurate. So just get out and do it with a stopwatch, get the hull in the air, hit your start button on the stopwatch, see how long you can keep it up for, put it down again, and have a little debrief with yourself. Why did the hull come back down? What could we have done better? Maybe you capsized. What could we have done better? Not capsized, that would probably be a good one. But playing the main sheet, I think I've gone on about playing the main sheet a fair bit, but playing the main sheet is always going to be your biggest friend in prevention of the capsize. But if you're flying a hull and you've taken it over 45 degrees, once you get to a stage where the weight of the rig is more than the weight of the hull and the rider, it doesn't matter if you let the main sheet off, you're going to go. All right, there we go. I think that was a very good answer. But I've done 2 hull flying videos now, so do check both of those bad boys out. I think all of the evidence is there. Okay, that's a great question. I enjoyed it. Hello to 3 exclamation marks. Great to have you on board. And Hobie Cat says also the South Africa mast is complete aluminium. Yeah. Are the South African boats built in South Africa, or are they being shipped from Europe? There's the question. Because when we had the Tiger Worlds near Cape Town, I think the Tigers were shipped from Hobie Europe, I'm pretty sure. Okay, Jerome asks, gloves or no gloves? Well, I am a no glove kind of guy, but the reason I can get away with no gloves is because I'm sailing pretty much every day of the week. So the hands become accustomed to the gloveless way of life. But if you're just sailing once a week, weekends or something, then you definitely need gloves. If you're going to be giving it any kind of beans, then you need gloves. Or perhaps you've got a job that involves working with your hands. Perhaps you're a gardener. That is a good hand toughening job to have. If you're a gardener, you probably don't need gloves as much as somebody who perhaps is a computer operator of some description, where the rope gripping part of the hands are not being used so much. At the start of the season here at Wildwind every year, I usually spend about 2 days raking the boat park and the beach, and that is the primer for my hands. That raking gets the hands going and ready for all that sheeting. But just last week I did, I actually went out crewing. Hi Chico. I went crewing on the Tiger with Joe from Germany, and I tell you what, even after a 30-minute sail, the hands were feeling pretty raw after playing the main sheet upwind and then playing the kite downwind, pulling the kite up and down. So I would say definitely crewing on an F-18 type boat, gloves every time. deal for the main sheet. All right, scrolling back. Thanks, that was a good question. Liked it. All right, we've got Nick on the Hobie Getaway. Are the lower main sheet grommets on the sail for more or less sail twists? My friends and I are having an argument. Oh dear. Oh, what fun to be arguing about something sailing related. The lower sail grommets. I think, Nick, you're going to have to elaborate. Where I've never actually seen a Hobie Getaway in real life. So if you could let me know where those grommets are located. Are you talking grommets on the halyard, perhaps grommets on the luff of the sail, or perhaps where you hook the main sheet onto? That would be great. Was it the main or are the lower main sheet grommets? Okay, yeah, if you could give me a bit more on that, Nick, then I'll be able to let you know. Bradley, copy that, going deep, thank you. Okay. We've got Pesty Pester, I believe that's Andrew, somewhere in Florida. Nice to have you on board. Hello, hello, and hello. See, learning the vernacular, very important for getting involved. Sean, yeah, sorry about that with the black screen. I had a bit of some sort of network meltdown initially when launching this broadcast. But now I have to be in a stationary position now because I'm actually using Wi-Fi and not 4G because something's up with the 4G that's not letting it happen, whereas the Wi-Fi seems to be providing the juice just now. So apologies to anybody who was watching that black screen. I hope it wasn't too painful. Martin, sea waters for 2. That is a massive question. There are so many choices. Of course, what it's going to depend on is what sort of sailing do you want to do? Do you want to race? Do you just want to go out, have fun, go fast? How heavy are you? Are you going to be sailing with a heavier team or a lighter team? I'm always going to be, if it's not race, well, if it is racing, I would say look at your local sailing club. What types of boat are people sailing there? Because you want to have the same type of boat as at least a couple of people at the sailing club so that you can go out matching your speed together rather than be somebody with like a completely different boat to everybody else. But depends on your experience a bit as well. So let's go through a list. Right, if you're totally inexperienced and you haven't sailed before, good type of catamaran to start with would be perhaps a Dart 16, Hobie 15, an RS Cat 16, I believe. There's probably a Topper Topaz catamaran or something similar. One of Hobie Getaway would be good. Perhaps a Hobie Wave if you're really not into performance and you just want to get out. Those would be some top picks for a specific. Hey, hi Hein. Good. I could probably. Hein is actually here live. Last week he wasn't here and now he is. The miracle of transportation these days is absolutely remarkable. All right, so those are your specific beginner level boats, which would all be equally good. The different one there in that list was the Hobie 15, because that is the only fiberglass boat, which is a little bit more delicate than the plastic boats. Then if you want something that is going to tickle you for a bit longer, then of course the Hobie 16 is going to be absolutely killing it if your combined crew weight is generally going to be less than 150, 160. I've never sailed a Prindle, but I think like the Prindle 16, Prindle 18 would be very good choices as well. If you just want a good, durable catamaran, loads of them available secondhand. And there you go. Then we've got the Hobie Pacific, which I'm sitting on at the moment. It'll be good if you're a beginner or if you want to take it a bit further. Loads of volume, good for the heavy teams. It's the modern version of the Hobie 18, which is not being built anymore, but there are a lot of used Hobie 18s around which you could. Okay, hold on, I'm just going to skip to Daniel here, who has just bought an old Hobie 21 SE. He sails it with the family. Okay, so the Hobie 21, most similar boat we've got here at this time is probably the Tiger. The Tiger's obviously a fair bit smaller. Yeah, so just continuing this boat choice question. The last one, if you're racing with two people, then we've got F18, like the Tiger, the C2, the Nacra Evolution that we were talking about earlier. More delicate, more going on. You've got spinnaker dagger boards on there. Then you've got the F16, expensive, lighter, better for lighter people. What else for racing? The Tornado. Ooh, yeah. Massive. You have to buy a second-hand one. You can get one for not too much money. Great boat, very quick. Still, a new Tornado should, in theory, be quicker around a course than anything else that doesn't foil on paper. There we go. I think that pretty much ties it up. All right, just scrolling back. Scrolling back. Okay, Christopher asks, have you ever sailed Optimist? Answer, yes. I did one, actually I did two. I did, when I was young and I lived in the UK, I did 2 Optimist training weeks, which I was one of the instructors on, teaching children how to sail on Optimists. And on the last day, as a bit of fun, I sailed an Optimist. And yeah, I think the Optimist is a worthy boat for kids to sail on. Hugely popular, and the races, like Optimist events, get more boats than any other type of event. I think there's an Optimist event every year on Lake Garda, Italy, which has something ridiculous like 800 boats, and each boat comes with parents, and those parents having an event of their own on land against the other parents. Exciting stuff. But yes, I did sail one once, but I didn't sail Optimist when I was young. All right, scrolling back. Scrolling back. Scrolling back. Okay, we've got Steve from Grafham Water, which is a place where I actually used to work in the UK. The Nacra Inter 18 is proving to be a superb boat. If you're ever near Grafham, come and give it the beans. Yeah, you could get more than 21 out of her, I reckon, Steve, if you give it the beans, play the main sheet. Yeah, more wind, play the main sheet, and send it. She's quick. Okay, Adam's saying, I'm not going to respond to all of Adam's comments here because Adam is just teaching the world to monohull sail while we're about it. But he's saying on a monohull, he does a version of flying the hull, verge of capsizing, and just moves his body position to prevent the capsize. Great skills there from Adam. Sean says, it can kill a blue elephant just by waving. Wow, I don't actually know what that means, but I am impressed. So let's not kill any blue elephants, not today, unless it's about to stand on your new mainsail or something, which would be a problem. Adam says he's soon to be a sailing instructor. I think Adam is looking for a job out here. Good choice, Adam. Yeah, stay in touch. And I think he's 16 at the moment, because we can't take anybody who's under 18. But as soon as you're 18, get in touch. We'll see what we can do. All right, Christopher says in Thailand there's a huge F-18 fleet, and the NACRA, if maybe you mean NACRA boats are made there, come and visit. Yes, please. Yeah, in last week's Show Us Your Cat, we did visit a club near to Bangkok. I think, was it near Bangkok? I think it was, but it really looked pretty high performance, good stuff there. All right, D. Jonathan, how can I sail with you? Just come to Vasiliki, and anybody, this is actually true, anybody who says, Joe, can I come sailing with you? So yeah, come on then. So all you've got to do is ask and be here, and then we can make it happen. Okay, Robin says, good morning. Merritt Island, Florida. Nice to have different parts of Florida, I believe, represented today. Jerome says, how do you determine the tension at the back of the main sheet on the boom? Oh, how do you determine how much main sheet to pull in? If that's what you're asking, then what we can do is we can use our telltales. There's two different types of telltales that you might have on the mainsail. Some would be in the body, if this is the mainsail, some would be in the body of the mainsail, and some would be flying off the leech, like this, kind of. And what we're looking for in the telltales in the body of the sail is that we have them flying straight back. If the one on the inside isn't flying, you sheet in. If the one on the outside isn't flying, you sheet out. Sounds pretty simple. With the telltales on the leech of the mainsail, what we're doing with those is, if they're not flying, if they're getting hooked around the back of the sail, it means the sail is in too tight. That's what those bad boys are telling us. So that is how we can determine the main sheet tension. But what you find is, over time, you get used. Left you there for a second. Okay, if I get cut off, we can be happy that we spent cut off and I can't get it going again. Is what I'll do is I'll go through all the questions that we're still unanswered, and I'll actually make and upload a video answering those questions once it is possible. Bradley says, are they reefing points? Oh, this is back to the getaway question. They could be reefing points. That's what I was thinking. If you have got a second hole higher up on the mainsail, probably about what, 1.5 meters, maybe 2 meters up, that will certainly be for reefing the sail. Do check out the videos I did on reefing the mainsail on the Hobie 16. Hopefully that will help. All right, we've got student Alexander William Futter Flint, otherwise known as Alex. Thank you for all of your helpful advice. Thank you for thanking me. It's a great pleasure to be able to share what I've picked up over the years with you guys. David, Tyler, just David, you the man, Shaka. Yeah, nice one, David. Appreciate it. Okay, we got Hein from Vasiliki. Yeah, last week Hein was watching the live stream, and now he's actually here living the dream. Although we're yet to have the absolute classic afternoon. It's actually been too windy today, which, not in the classical sense of too windy, but too much gradient wind around, which has meant that the wind down here has been a bit very gusty, turbulent wind, just because there's a bit too much about. Very rare that this happens, but it's happened. It happened today. All right, scrolling back. Okay, David asks, hulls polished or not? Yeah, I think the shiny boat has got to be good, hasn't it? But I also believe that the kind of matte finish boat is nice as well, because the water's not going to attach to the matte finish as much as the shiny finish. What are the guys with the America's Cup boats doing? I should look that up, and that is going to give you the answer, because those guys are at the cutting edge of the sport of sailing, and what they're doing with their boats, surely that is the fastest. If it's within your class rules, do what the America's Cup guys are doing. That's what I reckon. Scoop says the Hobie. You're not wrong. Okay. Yeah, so Hein got 21.84 knots today on the Tiger. Very nice too. Hein, you're going to have to give me that tomorrow. I'll get it on the Vasiliki speed stick. So it'll be logged there forever. Well, unless you beat it, which is quite likely out here. Daniel says, we planned on coming to Greece and Lefkos this summer, but we all know how that went. We do. Sorry to hear that. Okay, Dan says, hi Joe, sitting here with my tennis elbow. Oh man, tennis elbow is painful. I've had it several times, and yes, it's not fun. I'm sure you've looked on YouTube for exercises that you can do which make it a bit better, because whenever I've had it, I've looked it up on YouTube, what can you do for it, and there's been some good stuff there which has seemed, it didn't fix it at the time, but what it's done is by continuing these exercises, it's after it kind of fixed itself, if it fixes itself, I don't know, but after that, what happened by doing the exercises and repeating them every day, it hasn't come back, which is good. So kind of like prevention rather than cure is a good thing to do. There's one with, I won't dwell on this too long, but you get there's like a rubber cylinder about that big, and you grab it with your hands and you kind of twist it like you're starting a motorbike, like that, and then you twist it the other way, and then you do it with the other hand, and it kind of builds up these parts of the elbow, which strengthens that part, which means you're less likely to damage yourself when you pull in your main sheet. Dan agrees. Prevention is the best thing to do. Yes, I think so. Yeah, because when you go sailing, especially if it's windy, if your body's not ready for it, there's a lot of stuff going on when it's windy, and you need to be able to do stuff like, say you've capsized, you're in the water, you need to get back on the boat, possibly fairly quickly. You're just going to do it, even if your body's screaming at you not to do it because it hurts. So a bit of physical preparation is a good idea, especially if you're going to be sailing when it's windy. For sure. All right, just scrolling back. Okay, Scoop says, my Hobie 16 hulls are soft on the entire top. Oh my goodness. Is the boat needing replacement? I think what you need to do is find a boat builder, fiberglass repairman kind of person, unless you're skilled in that arena. Get him to take a look at it and how much it's going to cost to fix, and then weigh it up. And then what you could actually do is, if you did need to replace the boat, if you've got space to store it, the boat that you've got at the moment with the soft hulls, you could either break into to parts and sell the parts, which doing that you get, you know, you can actually pay for your replacement boat almost entirely with selling the parts, or get the new boat, get the best parts on the boat you're going to keep, and then sell the parts which are left over, or keep them as spare, and maybe you'll find a second-hand pair of hulls somewhere. But those are the options that I'd say. But especially if you're going to be sailing with any waves or in strong wind, if the whole top of your boat is soft, it's not seaworthy and that boat could fail you. I hope the wind noise isn't too much. Oh, there we go. So it's okay. Too much wind. Yeah. That's Hein. So Andrew says he had soft spots on his 76 Hobie 16, had it fixed, and it was so heavy afterwards, never felt right. Yeah, if you can, start getting on the lookout for some hulls. (1979) classic. Adam says Musto skiff looks very fun. Yes, it does. There was one of our guys last year, Josh. He's a big Musto skiff sailor, and he certainly found it a lot of fun. I think that's a great choice as a single-handed monohull trapeze spinnaker. Really good. Oh wow, Christopher says his dad was in the British squad for Tornado in the 70s and 80s. Nice. Back when, as a skipper, you had to actually hike out, like on a laser, before it went to trapezing. Scoop says the pylon is sinking into the hull. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is sounding pretty bad, Scoop. I think it does sound like new hulls may be required there. Sounds expensive. Okay, we've got Rich. Rich is from the, what is it? Hold on, got to get this right. International Hobie Class Association. And it's Rich who was putting together these webinars, which are available on the International Hobie Class Association YouTube page to watch. I think they're about an hour, maybe an hour and a half long each. And they are really interesting, and they go into some detail. I've talked already about the one about rudders and rudder design, but there was one before about boat repairs. So if you're interested in boat repair, then check out the International Hobie Class Association. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Rich, with the name of the YouTube channel, but check it out and get involved. Subscribe over there, because there's some great information there, the sort of stuff that I can't deliver just here. Christopher says it's the world record for Lake Garda, 1,200 optimists. Ouch, that's a lot of parents. Okay, LBEs says, hey Joe, do you have a video on maintaining your boat, or perhaps planning to do one? Not so much, no. Oh, here we go. Sorry, I'll come back to that. Rich says Hobie Class is the name of the International Hobie Class YouTube channel. So that's it. Check out Hobie Class. Open another tab in your browser. Look up Hobie Class now. Subscribe. Watch the videos there. You'll learn a lot. They're quite long, so you could watch them in parts. Or if perhaps you're not married or the wife's gone out, nice to watch with a bit of dinner or something. Lovely. Thanks, Rich. Okay. So, where were we? Oh, yeah, with the... No, I haven't done any videos on boat maintaining. No, I'm kind of drawing a blank there what I'd put into that video. All I could say is wash it all. wash everything with fresh water, service your rudders, grease your pylons, change the mast pivot bearing, change the rigging every 3 to 5 years, and yeah, actually I could think of quite a lot to put in it. Thanks for bringing this up. Yeah, as you think about something, ideas do come. So thanks very much for that. I'll put it on the list. We've got Luke. Joe, we're going to get across shore tomorrow. Yes, we are. The reason it wasn't very good today is because I had a day off. So, yeah, sorry about that for everybody here in Vasiliki. I will be here, pistols blazing tomorrow. Birkin Boskurt says, why did you leave the UK? I could tell you why. It's because I'd always been searching for a place which was hot and windy, because I was sailing on the North Sea off the east coast of England, where it was, if it was windy, it was cold. If it was hot, there was no wind. And I sort of believed that it was possible that a place could be hot and windy. And then someone told me about this remarkable place, Vasiliki. So I thought, okay, I'll check it out. I came to Vasiliki, and yes, it was hot, and yes, it was windy at the same time. Within a week of being here, I had dolphins jumping in the spray, the back of the boat, rainbows and stuff. Too good. That is why I left the UK in the search of a place which is hot and windy. And I found it, and I'm not leaving. Thank you. It's a good question. All right. Scrolling back. All right, we've got 3 minutes for anybody to get their questions in. Otherwise, that is as much as we've got time for today. All right, just scrolling back. Okay, fair bit of scrolling back here. Daniel says, do you think it matters much with a cat to start learning with? My 21 feels stable but has lots of variables to play with. Yeah, I think you could learn with a big boat like a 21, because the 21 is kind of like, if it was a monohull, it would be kind of like the equivalent of learning to sail on a keel boat instead of a dinghy. And as long as it's not too windy, then you get the extra stability with the size. Yeah, sorry about that from earlier. It's actually obvious when I think about it. The nearest thing we've got to a 21 here is a Tornado, because it's very similar size sails. It just hasn't got, the 21 has got the picnic benches out the sides, which give you a drier ride, means you don't necessarily have to trapeze if you don't want to. And it is a great boat. The one drawback of the 21 is how heavy it is, and putting your back out when you're trying to get it out of the water. That would be the main drawback. I think it is something like 210 kilos, perhaps a bit more. But every type of boat is okay to learn on. But the boats with centerboards or dagger boards, you've obviously got that extra element to think about. The racing boats are a lot more fragile, so you're more likely to damage it, which is why a boat like the Hobie 16 or one of the plastic boats is better to learn on, because it's more durable. But the Hobie 21, that is built like a tank. So that's one which, if you drove that into the beach, you're going to damage the beach. So there we go. All right, scrolling back. Scrolling back. No more questions now, please. Yeah, no more questions or comments unless I ask for them. Otherwise, scrolling back takes a lot longer. All right. So Dan says, aha. Don't know if you've covered it yet. This is Dan. Says, play in the Traveller when trying to sheet in tight your mainsail. Yeah, this is a good question, and I haven't got a definitive answer for it. But what Dan is saying is if your traveller's not in the centre, sorry, when you pull the main sheet in, you pull the traveller to windward. My usual way of overcoming that is not to let the traveller out if it's not so windy that the wind holds the traveller out as you're sheeting the main in. Because like if you're sailing a boat 2 sails downwind and you've got the traveller out, you shouldn't really be bringing the main sheet in that tight anyway. If you're sailing a boat in strong winds, traveller out, then as you sheet in, the pressure in the mainsail should hopefully stop the traveller from moving position. And that is kind of how I overcome that problem myself. So if I'm sheeting in and the traveller's moving to windward, that means there's not enough pressure in the sail, so I need to pull the traveller in as well. How's that for an answer? I just made that up, but that's kind of how I overcome it, and that seems to work for me. Thanks, that was a very good question. Sheet in, yeah. Adam says, what would be really cool is if you did factory tours and went to a Vex. Oh, that would be cool. But I think everything's happening at the same time. Like in the summer, I'd love to get an invite and all expenses paid trip to go around the factory at Hobie Europe and take a look around, see the manufacturing process of the Hobie 16 and maybe something else. That would be very nice indeed. But to go to France from here is quite a long way, and all the events tend to be in the summer, and to leave here to go to an event isn't really so viable unless it's I'll do one event per year, and it's usually with the Tornado. But maybe depending on where the events are, maybe it's almost time that I go and do a Hobie 16 event. I haven't done one since I think it was 94. I did the Youth Europeans in the south of France. That was back when I was 18. Maybe it was before, yeah, it must have been 94. But that would be wicked, good idea. Okay, Cremcap says, notice you don't use gloves or knee protection. How do you not bruise your knees? Is it just me? No, it's pretty much everybody who doesn't. I'm very fortunate, of course, being in this situation where I go sailing every day and I'm generally wearing shorts. And at the start of the season, yes, if I do a lot, then the knees do take a bit of a hiding. But what happens is over time, your knees get more accustomed to that kind of abrasion on the trampoline, and you sort of build up tough knees, so the knee pads are no longer necessary. But like if I'm going to do an event where it's not hot, then I'll definitely wear like a long john wetsuit, which obviously covers the knees, so then I don't need to worry about my knees, especially if I'm going to Lake Garda or somewhere cold. Long john wetsuit, that's a nice choice. But for sailing here in Vasiliki, no knee protection really required for me. But for people who come out on holiday, we see it so many times after 2 days of being here on holiday, especially if they're people who are perhaps used to sailing on a German lake in a dry suit. They're like, I'll go sailing in shorts, this is nice. But then after 2 days, their knees are very sore. When I went to Mauritius earlier in the year, I'd gone from doing no sailing at all to suddenly in this ridiculous tropical paradise in a pair of shorts, and I got sunburn and very sore knees, which actually meant the only option I had was to wear a long-sleeved rash vest top as trousers with a pair of shorts over the top to protect the knees. That's ridiculous, isn't it? But it worked. That's a top tip. Knees hurting, you've got nothing to wear, but you've got a spare long-sleeved rash vest. Use your long-sleeved rash vest as trousers. Put a pair of shorts over the top to cover the hole where your head would go, and there you are, protected knees. but it's going to kill your rash vest anyway. Thanks very much. Good question. I enjoyed it. See you, Adam. See you soon. Hobie Cat, I think that's Ollie. The old Hobie 21 Formula is the only boat that I know is fast enough to beat the Tornado. And that was when the Tornado had single trapeze, yes. Sean says, you talk about playing the main sheet for the gusts, but what about the Traveller for the main? All the way in, halfway out. Yeah, so I did make a video on Traveller positions, but just the brief version of that is the Traveller can be used for either point of sail, so you're sailing upwind, reaching half wind, or going downwind on the broad reach, in which case upwind, let's say generally speaking, upwind in the middle, half wind or reaching halfway out, broad reaching most of the way out. Straightforward. This is sounds simplified, it is a little bit, but it is that is pretty much how it is. But then you can also, from those positions, have the Traveller set out more if you're constantly having to let the main sheet out because you've got too much power. So if you're sailing upwind, you've got too much power, let the Traveller out a little bit and then play the main sheet from that position. Same thing goes for the half wind beam reach, but on the broad reach, downwind, the Traveller is not going to go out any further, so that's the exception there. So there you go, that is the very brief Traveller settings explanation, but they've made a full video about this, so just go through the archives and you'll find it there. It's fairly recent actually, last month or so. Thanks very much, good question. Sean's gonna explain the elephant. Oh, Sean was saying my hands are so strong I can kill an elephant by waving at it. Very strong. Do you know how sailing teams racing in the America's Cup, how do I know? Oh, that is a great question. How do the sailors sailing in the Sail GP or America's Cup, how do they get selected? As far as I know, it's through their previous performances. So a friend of mine, Chris, when he worked here at Wildwind, when he worked here at Wildwind, he was already 420 European champion. After that, he went on to compete in the 49er class, and he got silver medal at the Olympics in the 49er class. And he then obviously did a lot of other stuff in the interim, but the end result was he went on to be the helmsman on the AC-72 Luna Rossa boat, which was the silver one, which arguably is the coolest looking one. And they all had sailing gear that made them look like they were going to space or something. Very cool indeed. So he got onto that boat just due to his previous results and the dedication that he'd put into the sport. From Wildwind instructor to AC-72 helmsman in the America's Cup. That's how it worked for him. And I think for most of the guys doing those sort of high level sailing events, they're all getting into it in the same way from start off with, so if you take it from right at the beginning, start off with small events, do club racing at your local sailing club, then perhaps go and do a few open meetings around the country, then go to a national championships, then go to if you're in Europe, a European championships, then perhaps go and do the world championships and do as many events as you can, just gaining experience, getting good results, then eventually do the Olympic Games, win the Olympic Games, and then you'll probably get invited to get on one of these big catamarans. Best I could do. Or if you've got enough money, just buy one. Good question though, I liked it. Wow, Dan says, when you've capsized and the hull of capsized Tiger hits your elbow Ouch. Yeah, not much you could do to prevent that. Okay, hello Christian, G13. Clee33 Abel says, yes, sell it, get a better boat, sell off the parts. He's done it a few times. Yeah, I think I've seen this from other people in the past. If you've got a boat which is kind of going downhill, you could just be kind of chasing the dream with that boat for a long time. So at some point you've just got to say, let's just let it go. We'll get another boat. And there we go. Because some things are a little bit too far gone. Okay, Adam says loves the laser, but he's thinking about going to... Oh, Adam's left anyway. All right. Freya says, we love you, Joe. That's very sweet. We love you too. And be greatly missed in the Wildwind Boat Park. Jeffrey says, just started sailing this year and unfortunately fell while going down a hill to add boat dock extension. Oh, all right. Let's all send our best wishes to Jeffrey there for a quick recovery. I think, you know, not to say on the positive side, but I think with broken bones, they do heal quicker than tendon or ligament damage. So that is a, can we say that's positive? Unlucky Jeffrey, and yeah, hopefully be providing adequate entertainment for you from Wildwind over the coming weeks. Jerome says picnic bench, excellent. Yeah, you can have a picnic on that bench on the 21. Victor says I'd love to see some Dart 18 action. I've brought one recently. The Dart 18 is of course another good choice. The reason it's not talked about much on joyridertv is basically because we haven't got any here to look at. There aren't actually any Dart 18s in the and I followed those steps which I was saying earlier. I did club racing, I did open meetings, then went to the nationals and eventually went to the worlds, and the Dart 18 gave me all of the experience that I'm now tapping into, although I'm obviously got a lot more experience. I've got a lot more experience from being here over the years. Yeah, so if we had a Dart 18, I would do some videos. Thanks, Jeffrey. Kevin says, do you recommend buying a new Hobie or a used one? Best time to buy a Hobie is if, depends on where you are a little bit, but if there's been a Europeans or World Championships, especially if it's been near to where you are, then after what they do for those competitions is there's generally something like 60 boats, brand new boats, which are supplied for charter for that event, and they get used just for that event 1 week, maybe 2 weeks maximum, and then afterwards they get sold for a massive discount from the general ring, like 30 or 40% off, and that is the best way to buy a Hobie 16 or 14. Definitely, hands down, best way to buy one. You save a load of money and you have a shiny new boat. You all right, Rick? It's Ricky Nielsen. He's just, are you coming on? Ricky Nielsen here.
Where is it?
Okay, this is Ricky Nielsen about buying a used Hobie Cat, Hobie 16.
Oh, I'd love to buy a Hobie 16. I think if we didn't have all these boats here, that's the first thing I'd be doing. Hobie 16, and yeah, I don't know where I'd say. Obviously, I might keep it here actually.
Waste of time.
But what a waste of time.
Yeah. But, yeah. So there's Ricky Nielsen's insights on what he would do. In fact, one of our instructors who is no longer teaching with us, Henry, I saw on Instagram today that he is now the proud owner of, what was it, a 1984 Tsunami Nationals Hobie 16 looks fantastic. We want to see that bad boy on Show Us Your Cat. Of course we do. Okay, cheers Rick. Yeah, but the new Hobie 16 is expensive. Used ones, depends on your budget. You could get a decent used Hobie 16 for probably 2,000, 2,500 units of currency wherever you are. So worth having a look. All right. Yeah, Robin can confirm. Yeah. Kevin says, thanks, look to that. Okay, and then we've got TTV Scopes. Hi. Okay, so that is all we've got time for today. Thanks very much for your questions. It has been an absolutely scintillating hour here on Joyrider TV, sat on the Hobie Pacific here in the Wild Wind Boat Park. It's been very nice. One request out there is if you are in the UK or perhaps even Europe and you have got, it's a little bit unlikely perhaps, but perhaps you've written off for sale of your Hobie Tiger or FX1 or similar, or Hobie 20, what else, Hobie Fox. If you've written off for sale and you're not doing anything from it, Mr. Scopes is in Kent. Oh yeah, thanks Kush. If you've got a spare head fitting for that boat, then Steve-O with the FX1, he was one of the top guys in the virtual regatta racing. He's looking for one. Let's help Steve-O out and find him this head fitting. But of course he doesn't want to pay full Hobie Cat prices, which are reasonably steep. So thanks very much. Be back next week with more Q&A from the Wild Wind Boat Park. Yeah, be careful out there because anything can happen and probably will. So just go out prepared with a plan, with a GPS. Thank you very much. Hit the like button. How do I make it stop?